Archana ma'am, may I please request you to switch on your video? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. A very good evening to all of you. On behalf of KLE Society's KLE College of Law, Navi Mumbai, I, Professor Pooja Bijargi, welcome you all. I will be hosting today's event along with Professor Salim Khan, who would be moderating today's session. Our guest speaker for today, Mrs. Archanashares ma'am, has joined us. A very warm welcome, ma'am. I would also like to thank our management for giving us this guidance to organize this 4th National Webinar Series. Dr. Prabhakar Kore sir, Chairman of KLE Society, Mr. Mahantesh Kavadgimat sir, GB Chairman, KLE College of Law, MLC and Chief with Karnataka Government. Dr. Mallikarjunaya sir, Principal, KLE Society Law College, Bangalore, and Director, KLE Law Academy, Bangalore. Our beloved Principal Sir, Professor Dinkar Gitte sir, for his continuous blessings and guidance to organize this 4th National Webinar Series. The guest speaker for today, Mrs. Archanashares ma'am, is going to enlighten us on the topic of Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013. I would now request Professor Salim Khan sir to take over the session. Salim sir.
Yeah, thank you, Pooja ma'am. Thanks a lot. I will be moderating the session today. Before we proceed ahead, I would like to request our principal sir, Professor Dinkar Gitte, to kindly address the webinar. Principal sir.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but Principal sir would be joining us soon.
So, okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, fine. Taking this ahead, we will proceed. Before we start the session, I take this privilege to introduce the guest of our chief guest today. Our speaker for the day is Miss Archanashares. One thing, let me accept in front of everybody. While trying to make an introduction of Madam to be presented before the audience over here, I was really in a dilemma. What should I say and what I should not say? A very heavy CV with so much of achievements and so much of things. Madam, please forgive me if I miss some part of the introduction, ma'am. Ma'am is a behavioral NLP practitioner and also a POSH consultant. Ma'am has done her MA in English Literature from Bikram University. Ma'am has also done a BSc in Biology from Barkatullah University, Madhya Pradesh. Ma'am has done a B.Ed in Lucknow University, DPhar from Madhya Pradesh Technical University, Bhopal. And currently, Madam is pursuing PGDCA in Gender Sensitization from IGNOU. Ma'am have a number of certifications. To name a few, she has a certification from Dale Carnegie, USA, POSH Act certified, certified NLP practitioner, certified emotional intelligence, certified English language, etc., and many more. Ma'am is having 22 years of experience in across industry in building and leading strong sustainable team to achieve business. To name a few industries ma'am have worked with is banking and financial sector, retail, FMCG, manufacturing, media, IT industry, government organization, health center, BPO, education, etc. You name the industry and ma'am have worked for this industry. Ma'am is an eminent speaker and facilitator on the topic of the sexual harassment of women at workplace, Prevention, Prohibition, and Redress Act 2013. There are many more things to be said, but we are very eager to listen to our speaker for the day. Hence, I would conclude the introduction over here, and I request ma'am to start with her presentation. I welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of the KLE Society and KLE College of Law to this webinar. And it's our pleasure to have you here, ma'am.
Thank you, Salim sir, and thank you, KLE Society, for giving me this platform to connect with many. Believe me, this particular topic, prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace, is very, very close to my heart. So whenever I get a chance, I just bump into this particular opportunity, and I prefer that I should talk on this topic as much as, because awareness is something which is very, very important, particularly when we talk about this. Many people are not even aware that there is a law, there is an act which is talking about prevention of sexual harassment. Many of the cases goes unnoticed. So before I start, I will just take your permission so that I can share a PPT, and then we will start on this. So
sure, ma'am. Please.
I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, there's a request. Ma'am, can you please once again check with the settings of Annotate?
Let me just see. I had disabled, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
I hope I have disabled. I tried my best to disable, but I hope I have done. So welcome everyone to this particular topic, that is prevention of sexual harassment of women at workplace. As I said, this is something which is very close to me, and I'm one among the pioneers who started giving consultancy on this particular topic. Done a lot of consultancy with many of the companies, and still going on. Actually, yesterday also there was one of the sessions I took on this, where I realized that people are really not aware about there is any such law, or there is any such committee where we can go and complain. So today's topic, we are going to talk more and more on this. I will be talking more on a legal part also. If anything happens, how we are going to talk on this. One thing which let me honestly tell you that, when I started, where people were not aware and people were not ready to conduct the sessions on this topic. It was a taboo topic to talk. People were telling me that how we are going to talk in front of all male, or if you're going to talk, then only there will be batches divided as per the genders. So one batch will be only for male and one batch only for females. So I always used to tell them that please do not do this. It is something which both the genders must know. It is something which is included. Which includes both the genders. So I always prefer that the topic should be conducted in the mixed batches. The another thing which I felt, initial hiccup was with this particular sessions was that, oh, we don't have any female employees working in our organization. So why are you going to conduct this topic? So there are a lot of myths surrounding this. There is another one that if you conduct this particular sessions, then the number of cases, number of complaints is going to go higher. So that's what the challenges I used to face. And then there was something. This particular case happened. I'm sure all of you are aware about this. Tanushri Datta's case, Tanushri Datta and Nana Patekar's one. After this, all of a sudden, there was a Me Too movement started all over India. Number of cases increases. It is not that number of cases increases. Cases were happening, but the number of complaints increased, I will say. So after this Me Too movement, I'm sure all of you had gone through a lot of media news, a lot of newspaper on this topic. So, in the year 2019, Nana Patekar was set free. This came up almost it was, the case was in 2008, and Tanushri Datta reported that in 2018, almost after 10 years. 10 years she took courage to talk about the sexual harassment. So why it is not valid, why it is valid? There are a lot of things happening. There are, like, there are people supporting Tanushri Datta, there are people supporting Nana Patekar. I don't want to go in detail with this particular thing, but just why I'm bringing up this particular Me Too movement in India, because after this I saw there is a lot of awareness happening, a lot of the buzz around the industry happening, and then everyone started talking about the compliance part in the companies. So very, very important over here we are going to talk about is, please remember, when there is a murder, the murder is of a physical frame, murder is of a body. But when there is a rape case happening, it is something where we are suppressing a human soul. It degrades the soul of a woman, something which is very, very sensitive. We must remember this. While we also remember that, we talk about India, we as an Indian, very, very proud. India is number one country in XYZ. We talk India is World Cup, a World Cup champion of cricket, or India is number one in other factors also. However, there is one shameful thing which I really want to highlight today is about this. The rape cases in India. India is number one in the rape cases also. And this is something which is shameful for all of us. When we talk about India as a spiritual capital, when we talk about India as a religious capital, when we talk about a lot of cultural things in India, then why these cases are coming up? Why India is number one? This is a point we should ponder on. I also wanted to highlight that in this, the entire act is known as the Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace to 2013, Prevention, Prohibition, and Redressal. There are three things mentioned in this particular act. So what do I mean by this? What is the approach of prevention, prohibition, and redressal? So when you see that prevention is nothing but to keep or to banning something from happening, to stop something from happening, to hinder the advances. What is about the prohibition? When we talk about the prohibition, it is banned, completely stopped. Like how we see that parking is prohibited in this area, spitting is prohibited in the particular area. Similarly, in this particular act, the prohibition is also mentioned. Along with that, there is a redressal procedure also given in this act. If anything happens, how to set it right, how to handle these complaints. You will be surprised to see on the slide that the Wipro is the highest among the cases registered in 2019 financial year and the calendar year both, I will say. Then there is Infosys, then there is TCS. So what does that mean? Is that the Wipro is unsafe place to work? No, not at all. Wipro is most safest place, I will say, because they made their employees to know about the act. The awareness is over there. I think just give me a second. I haven't disabled annotation part, I think so. Give me a second. I will again try to. Okay, sorry. Done. So when I say after this, in 2019, if you can see 500% cases jumped. IOCL, there are a lot of Navratna companies are also having certain, the posh cases registered. Even the Google has acknowledged that they also got the posh case, the case registered in their organization. So this is something which is very, very important that everyone should be aware. It is not only the legal responsibility of the organization, but it is also the moral responsibility of everyone. Each and every Indian, it is a moral responsibility that we should protect, we should respect we should respect everyone in the organization or wherever we are working. So in today's session, I am going to talk about this thing. Now, first part is the prelude part. Then we are going to talk about what is there into Vishakha guidelines. We will also going to talk about the POSH Act rules 2013. I am going to talk about the committees, that is internal committee and the local committee. If anything happens, what is the redressal procedure? And finally, for the organization, we are going to talk about what are their managerial tools in this. I will try to cover as much as possible in this 1 hour session. Normally, when I conduct the awareness session, I need half a day program because I do more on a interactive basis. However, this is more on a lecture basis I'm going to give today. So the first part which I wanted to say is this particular act is based on the articles 14, 15, article 19 and article 21. When I say article 14, 15, it is a fundamental right which we are going to talk about. It is fundamental right of equality. Everyone, to prohibit any discrimination. As an Indian citizen, I have this right. There should be no discrimination based on any ground, the religion, caste, creed, maybe gender, or even the place of birth. So if I am an Indian citizen, I have this right. The another one, which is Article 19, which also talks about all the citizens to practice any profession. So I have a right to choose any profession. I can work in any field, irrespective of my gender, irrespective of my religion, irrespective of my place of birth or the language I'm speaking or mother caste or the religion I'm following, all those things. Similarly, when I talk about the Article 21, that Article 21
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt. But the slides are not visible, ma'am.
Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself. Archana, ma'am.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's visible. Yeah. Ma'am, please disable the annotate and then, because I think you have again shared the slide.
Okay. It is already disabled.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
Done. So my slides are visible now? Okay. So the another thing which is included in this particular act is like Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. So this is CADAW convention where they had added the Article 11 and Article 24. When I talk about Article 11 is all about equality to employment. Which can be seriously impaired when women are subjected to gender specific, because many of the organizations even today, let me be very honest on that part, there are many of the training or the facilitator requirement where they clearly mention that only male members should apply, preferred male. That is something which is illegal. I mean, being law students, you all know about it. We cannot say that only male preferred or only male should apply, where today we know that even the female are traveling to moon. So this is something which is already mentioned in this particular act. It has also taken consideration of Article 24. When I say Article 24, it is adopt all necessary measures to national level to achieve full realization of all the rights. So awareness programs are conducted on this. This is something which is included. So CADAW, and then this article is also, this act is also talking about the Indian Penal Code, 1860. When I say Indian Penal Code, all the sections, section 254, so section 3, 354, section 370, or section 509, you being the law student, you all know about this. This is all against the modesty of the women, the forceful sexual intercourse, or criminal act against the women. All those things are included in this particular act. There is another thing which is included in this is all about the industrial or the labor laws, the Industrial Employment Act, which is again taken consideration while framing this act, which is into 1946. So the employers should take steps to include all the prohibitions. They had asked the industrial employment, they had asked that appropriate work conditions should be provided to respect the work issues. You will not believe, I was telling you about that only male members preferred. So one of the organization where they had plotted an advertisement of the trainers that, only male members preferred. That was manufacturing unit. So when I approached them and I said, I can do this topic really well, please, if you want. So they said, no, ma'am, we cannot give, we already mentioned only male. So I asked why you are asking about only male members. So they said, in manufacturing sector, we have only one gender working, that is male. Second, we don't even have washrooms for female. And then I said, that is highly discriminatory thing. Even if no female working, you should have one specific washrooms for female members, because even you might have clients visiting at your place. So you cannot say that this is the reason we are not allowing you to take the sessions in our manufacturing units. So this is something which is against the law that manufacturing company was doing. So I just wanted to share on this. The next which we are going to talk about, let's see what is the exact definition given in a POSH Act 2013. I'm again and again telling it as POSH Act 2013. That does not mean that it was not there before. We will talk on that also. So the definition is exactly as it is. Something which is sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances, requests, or favors, or in form of verbal, visual, or physical contact. So I highlighted the word unwelcome over here, which is very, very important. It's a keyword. All the keywords I had highlighted in red over here in the slide. So when I say unwelcome, anything which is unwelcome, forget about the sexual harassment, anything which is unwelcome, how do we feel? We feel stressed. We feel, oh, why the problem is here now? We feel illegal. We feel it is intimidating in my privacy. Where anything which is unwelcome, I never expected. The word unwelcome is nothing but it is, I never expected that. So how I will feel? I feel angry. I feel frustrated. I feel, why they are forcing me, which is unlawful. I can keep on talking on the word unwelcome entire day about my feelings. Feelings is something which is very, very important over here. So if something which is unwelcome, someone said no, or someone is feeling that, it is not required, then it is unwelcome. So remember the word unwelcome whenever we talk about the sexual harassment. The word harassment itself is saying that it is going beyond the limit, which I never ever expected, which I never ever thought. Why I'm calling it as an harassment? When once I said stop it, then why are you doing it again and again? And then that's why I call it as an harassment. Even if I just take an example, even just offering a simple tea. If you visit someone's office or someone's home and someone offers you a tea, a cup of tea, and if you like it, you will say, yes, I want it. Probably if you may not be a tea drinker, you can say, oh, okay, I don't like tea. You can offer me coffee. But the person is hell-bound that you must drink that tea because I offered you. It is my welcome gesture and you must drink that tea. Whatever the condition, whether you are ill, whether you don't like it, whatever, then I may call it as an harassment, isn't it? Or if the person is saying, If I'm visiting an organization and the person is offering me the tea and they said that tea is the criteria that based on this, you will get the assignments. Based on this, you will get the employment. If you are going to drink this tea, then you are going to get the promotion, or your bills will be passed. There are so many things. Is that fair? No, exactly not. I may call it as an harassment. I will feel this is unwelcome because while offering the job, this was not mentioned that the tea is one of the criteria I must drink. Similarly, when this is what I'm calling as an harassment. What kind of an harassment? It is tea harassment. So similarly, if anything which is coming up as sexual harassment, I mean something which is sexual in nature, asking about sexual requests, advances, favors, I will call it as sexual harassment. So I hope that the word unwelcome is very, very clear to you. If someone said no, stop it. Once no is no for always. Right? There are certain words which I already mentioned is unreasonably interfering in my work. As I gave you an example of tea. So tea is the reason which is, if I'm not going to drink tea, maybe my bills are not clear. Maybe my files are not clear. Or maybe, the arrangements for my training rooms are not done properly. There may be many things. So that is interfering in my work. Probably because of this, I may decide that I don't want tea. So I may decide that I don't want to work with this particular organization. I will resign from the organization. My employment is hampered. So it should be intimidating, it should be hostile enough, it should be offensive enough, and it should be unreasonably interfering. Why I'm just pointing out these words unwelcome or all those which is written in red, because most of the people have this wrong notion that once done, once it is there, and it will come under the sexual harassment. Of course, there are certain things which will be once enough, like rape cases, or maybe grabbing, or maybe kissing forcefully. This will be once enough to be counted as sexual harassment. But there are certain other things which is okay, which should be like repetitive enough. So please remember this whenever we are going to talk about what is sexual harassment. Let's see now what comes under, other definitions under this particular POSH Act 2013. So when I say POSH Act 2013, there are three to four definitions more given over here. Let's go one by one. When I say aggrieved women, who is aggrieved woman? So aggrieved woman can be, the working woman. The aggrieved woman can be the visiting person, anyone who is visiting your organization or your campus, and a student also. So aggrieved women can be anything. It is not necessarily the person should be under the payroll. And right from the domestic help till the top of the company, all are covered under this. The contract employees, the interns, students, voluntary workers, the NGO workers, whether they are getting monetary benefit or not, they are also covered under the definition of aggrieved women. So everyone who is visiting the campus for the business purpose is called as aggrieved woman. Remember, today I'm just talking about at workplace. So POSH Act, I'm talking only about the workplace. So whenever I talk about the workplace is wherever the business is happening. So the definition of workplace is not only the premises where you are, it can be wherever you are for the work purpose. It can be annual meeting at AGM held at a hotel, or traveling for business meeting in hotel, or traveling for business purpose in public transport, or maybe even for the official picnic organized by the company. That everything will be considered as the workplace. So wherever you are whichever place you are for the work purpose, the business purpose, it will be called as workplace. The example of this definition, I'm sure you might remember, or many of you may be remembering about the Tehelka.com, Tarun Tejpal's case, which happened at Goa Literary Fest. So the Tarun Tejpal molested the intern who is working with him in that literary fest in the elevator. So she was there for the work purpose. That's why it is called as workplace. So then let's talk about the definition of an employee. Employee is whosoever is giving the employment, the management, the contractors who are giving the contracts. All those will be covered under the employee. Who is managing the day-to-day thing, even the operations, managing the operations, they are called as employee. Employer. I'm really sorry. The definition of employer. Employer. And when I talk about the employee is whoever is working. I already mentioned, it's not only under the payroll, but the interns, even the voluntary workers or the domestic workers, even the third party vendors who are working in your organization, they all come under this act. So right from the security guard till the head of the company, everyone is covered under this definition. So let's go the next slide, which is going to talk more about the types of sexual harassment. There are two types of sexual harassment. One is quid pro quo and the another one is hostile work environment. So when I talk about the quid pro quo, this is very simple, this for that, in exchange of. You do this, you agree for my sexual advances, you agree for the sexual favors, you agree for the sexual request, and then you will get promotion, then you will get employment, then you will get the salary raise, appraisals, or any particular assignment, any particular work. That is direct. This for that. For the students, it can be like, if you agree for all this thing, you will get good marks. You will be awarded PhD. You will be successful in your examination, all those things. So that is quid pro quo. When I talk about the hostile work environment is a kind of an indirect work environment. When I say the person normally in this condition is not saying directly anything, but creating an environment against the lady in such a way that it is very difficult for her to work. For example, if student is not agreeing on this particular request or the favor, then the person will create that this student may not be able to give her exam, or maybe asking some very difficult question in the viva, or maybe giving very less marks so that she can she can say, okay, I agree on that. So kind of creating an hostile work environment, which is very unsafe for me. Unsafe physically and mentally both. So that is called as hostile work environment over here. So there are two types. Being an external member of many of the companies, what I had observed, my particular experiences is there are less cases of quid pro quo and there are more cases of hostile work environment. People do not have guts to talk directly on this part. So what they do is they create indirect pressure on the person. They create an hostile work environment. That's what. So what kind of conduct comes under sexual harassment? So there is a slide which I had prepared for you all, and this is like as I already mentioned, the verbal, the non-verbal, and the physical. So the physical, maybe, the touching, the hugging, the kissing, or grabbing someone will, or even touching the clothes, touching hair will come under the sexual harassment. When I talk about verbal, all the words in which have sexually colored remarks. Now it is very common sometimes, like calling someone as just very simple as greeting. So good morning, good afternoon, hi, hello, or shaking hand is okay. However, if someone calls the other person as hi sexy or hey beautiful, then it will be covered, it will be included into the verbal sexual harassment. Probably it is not once. I mean, if someone calls someone as high sexy or high beautiful, and the person objected, please call me by my name Archana, I am objecting on this, then that stopped, then it will never be considered as sexual harassment. Okay, so there are certain words, especially the gender based insults, which is very common in India. I'm very upfront on this part, but this is what I had observed. It's a very common language, especially with all the new generation using a lot of F words. Probably, every sentence ends or starts with F. And maybe for the students, it is like, it's so what? It's cool. Why are you taking this as an this? I really wanted to highlight something over here. It's nothing about your intention. It is not at all about your intention. It is all about the impact on the other person. So another keyword I really wanted to give you is intent and impact. Whatever my intention might be good. My intention is just to make a fun. But what is the impact on the other person? Please remember that. Court or even the committee members are always going to talk about what is your impact on the other person. The words made impact. So intention versus impact is something which we must always remember while speaking with other person, or while even how you are acting or how you are behaving in front of the other person. So intention is not important. The impact on the other person is very important. So using gender based insult, normally people will say, it's very common. Why you are taking it as an offensive thing? But remember that use always parliamentary language when you are working. When you are a professional, it is always good to use parliamentary language. The language which you cannot write the same language you cannot use also. So all the organizations have their own code of conduct, disciplinary policies. Please read that, and it is also mentioned over there to use parliamentary language, because most of the time the language or the gender-based insults are female-oriented. I mean, it's really shameful, but something which I wanted to highlight today. I will also wanted to say that God has given us wonderful language, a beautiful language. Why we want to use that language? We have good words. The kind of words you are using, the kind of person you are, and the kind of the destiny you are inviting for yourself. That is another topic which I conduct sessions on, but today I just wanted to highlight on this, that intent versus impact. So the verbal can be in like the words you speak, the words you have written. It can be in SMS, it can be in your WhatsApp message. Even the social media is taken into consideration. The kind of it is also the kind of pornographic images shared in non-verbal, or the videos shared, even the emojis shared will be considered in this. Unnamed notes, even kind of the gestures made, the sounds made, which will be considered in sexual harassment. Fine. So non-verbal, I already said, the gestures, the hand movement, the facial expression, the sound, the particular sound you made, the body language. Very simple example I really wanted to give you is this. If I just mention this, you will give me 1,000 meanings for one thumbs up. It can be thumbs up, it can be like, do it, okay, well done, superb, good job, go on, up. So many things with this one thumb. If I just put my thumb down and you will tell me that, okay, this is somewhere, it's degrading, dislike, down, I don't like it, okay, don't do it, it's not good, and many more things, right? If I just use my thumb this way, you will say, it's this side, left, this person, right? Or if I just say this, it's like drink. So I hope with one single thumb, and I am giving you so many meanings. I can talk about this. When I do the body language session, it's an entire day session. So, this one particular thumb, and you can see things goes on. So just remember, when you're speaking with other person, you're using your entire body, you're using your face, so the lot of messages are passed through your body language also. So that's what I really wanted to talk about there, that physical, verbal, and non-verbal, right? So this is all included in the definition of sexual harassment, which I already mentioned. I'm sure you are enjoying the session, you are liking it. If you like it, just put it on the chat box. Later on, I can see from Amrita all the questions we will be taking in the end from your side. Let's go to the next, which is next topic, which is Vishakha guidelines. So when I say Vishakha guidelines is something which is people, Posh Act is also, many of them are calling it as Vishakha guidelines. So being a law student, you all know what is the difference between act and law. Law is just mentioning, for example, just mentioning that spitting is prohibited in public area. But government has not given the detail how to prevent it, how to prohibit it, and how, if anyone spits, how to handle that, isn't it? But however, when we say act, it is the entire Bible or entire guideline given to you on this. That's why it is called as act, not as the law. Okay, so the entire things are covered. Why it came up in 1997, Vishakha and others versus state of Rajasthan, and that was acknowledged over there. It all started with there are 2 to 3 major cases happened in India, which is the base of this particular Posh Act. So when I say one of the major case was of Bhavri Devi in Rajasthan. Many of you might have even heard about her. She was working as Sathin for women oriented NGO, who was, they are all into women development programs. So they are the girl child education, they are into girl child marriage, girl child abortions, all those things. So this Bhavri Devi was from the Potter community, and she was working as Sathin with one of the NGOs over there. And one of Akhati Teej. Akhati Teej is considered as a very auspicious day for Hindus, where without any without any muhurt or very auspicious time, the entire day is considered as good to for the weddings. So that particular day, the head of the village, the granddaughter was getting married. She was girl child, very small, and this lady opposed. However, that day the marriage, didn't happen, but otherwise the next day the marriage happened. The head of the village has taken it against his own pride. So, what he did is he with his brother, nephews, and son went into the field and gang raped her and brutally beaten her husband. So that, and then they tried to register the complaint, but like as Indian system, the policeman, the doctor, no one was ready to register the complaint. So that happened in 1992 with her. Where is she today? Outcasted from the community. She is given like gaon nikala. She is living all alone and still fighting the case. There is a good documentary made on her on BBC also. She is still fighting the case. And one of the, the one of the member from that 5 men already went to heaven. He is no more now. But still she is fighting the case. So Vishakha has filed the PIL, and that's why this is called as Vishakha guidelines. Because the women NGO was involved in this, so there was lot of hangama in parliament, lot of the things happened, and then in 1997 the government has passed this guidelines for everyone. But what happened before that? It was just like action against women modesty. But then after this case, all the NGOs said the women who are working on a voluntary basis, like Bhavri Devi, what will happen to her? Who is going to take care of her safety? So after that, they had included all the women who are going out for the work purpose, right from the maid servant who is coming at our workplace. From there to CEO of the company, everyone is protected under this particular act. So let's see, like when I'm talking about this. So earlier, as I already mentioned, it was like section 354 was considered, but later on after this is. So what is there in Vishakha guidelines? We are going to talk more on the Vishakha guidelines. What is there on the Vishakha guidelines? These are all the important dates which is mentioned over there. So you can see, like after 1997 there was like a long break. But then later on, there was Nirbhaya case happened. Again, there was like, all the women NGOs, they started talking about it, and they pressurized the government that they must pass. They must do something for women's safety. So after, in 2013, government made it mandatory, or it is a compliance for all the organization to follow it. So that's why it is POSH Act 2013 over here. So all the important dates I had already given on the slides for you all. So that's all about this POSH Act. POSH Act and Rules 2013. Now let's understand what is considered or what is included in this particular thing. So I guess I have 20 more minutes to go. Yeah. So when I say ICC or LCC, it is earlier it is called as Internal Compliance Committee and the Local Compliance Committee. What is the major reason why people are not reporting cases? Why people are not reporting cases? One is like, as I already said, Bhavri Devi is still fighting. It's been more than 2 decades, or so longer judicial process. The second reason is like, the financial thing, the money matters, right? The fees of the lawyer, even if someone is working, the lady has to take leave and go to the court cases and all those things. There is another thing, which is embarrassment, social stigma related to this. Women are not ready to talk about it. They feel that, okay, if I report this, so in the society, everyone will be knowing about it. So that is also one of the major reason people are not. The third thing is the kind of questions asked in the court. I'm not comfortable to speak on that in front of unknown people. All these things are considered by the government, and then they had made the ICC and LCC. So what is ICC? Internal Compliance Committee, and LCC, Local Compliance Committee. When I say ICC, it is at the organizations level, and when I say LCC, it is at the district officer level. The working of both the committees will be same. So whatever I'm going to talk about, it is for both the committees, it is same. So when I say ICC, Internal Compliance Committee, government has asked all the organization to to make a committee. The organization, especially those who are 10 or more than 10 employees working, so they have to make ICC. So wherever the 10, irrespective of the gender, it's even if all the 10 male members are working, they have to form the Internal Complaints Committee. Now it is also called as IC, Internal Committee. So 10 or more, IC should be formed, and local committee is at the district level, district officer level, Jilla Adhikari, right? So now let's see what is there. How the committee is constituted. So in the committee, there are minimum, 5 members should be there. 50%, more than 50% actually, 50% female. So it's like, if 3 female and 2 male members. The head of the committee should be a lady. It is must. It is very important. The chairperson of the committee should be a lady. The lady should be matured enough and experienced enough and in a senior position, so that she can take unbiased decision. If in your organization there is no matured or the senior position lady, you can ask from your sister companies, or maybe you can ask from the other sectors or other companies also. So that is very important. The second lady, again from the organization. There should be preferably 2 male members in the committee. Why? Because it should have a unbiased view when they are going to hear the cases. There is 5th member in the committee, which is from, this should be again a very big myth that the person should be only from the NGO, or only the 5th external member should be a lady. No, a male member can also be the part as an external member, and this external member should have worked for women cause, or should be well aware, like how I know about this particular act, or working with the NGO. So that's the reason NGO is like very easy, because NGOs are working for women cause. Okay, so this committee has got the similar right as civil code. So whatever the decisions given by this committee will be the last, will be the final decisions. No one can challenge that. There are a lot of cases, because of the time constant, I cannot talk about those cases, but you can visit, and there are a lot of cases where the committee decisions were challenged, but the court has said committee's decision will be the last decision based on the context. So this is how the committee is going to form. Let's go to the constitution of the committee. I already told you the tenure of the committee is minimum 3 years, and then they have to form the new committee. Let's see now. Similarly, the things are happening with the LCC also. I already mentioned about this, so I'm just skipping this slide at the moment. The local complaints committee, any member who has cased against him cannot be the part of the committee. If someone has a complaint against the committee member only, immediately the person has to resign, and then the new committee is formed and the case is heard. This committee has to work on the 3 basic principles of Indian law, that is unbiased judgment, hearing, and unbiased judgment. The second is natural justice, and third one is confidentiality. They have to maintain the confidentiality. They cannot go out and talk about the cases registered. Even against whom the case is registered, the respondent, that person's name should also not be mentioned. So confidentiality should be mentioned. That is very, very important criteria for the committee. Now let's go about the process, how the process of filing the complaint. So I already told you the aggrieved woman should file the complaint with the incident, whenever the incident happened, within 3 months of the incident happened. If she complains after 3 months of the incident, the next 3 more months given to her, but with reasons, the committee is going to take that. Okay. So like, as I already mentioned about Tanushri Datta's case, so it's like, 2008 it happened, and then 2018 she is coming up. So that's why it is into the civil code, the outside, not in the committee. So within 3 months she should register. It may be happening for last 3 to 4 years, but the last incident, whenever it happened, from there 3 more months she got. If she is not in a condition, she is not in a condition to complain, then her relatives or the colleagues can make complaint. The complaint should always be given in written. Verbal complaint will not be entertained. Okay, and if the lady is not in a condition to write, then the committee itself write the complaint. That is also mentioned over there. Maybe an illiterate lady. So the committee itself is going to write about the complaint. The committee once the complaint is received, by the way, the written document should be the copies, there should be 6 copies of the complaint. So the 5 copies will be with the committee. The person should take an acknowledgement and keep it with herself. Okay. Once the complaint is registered, the committee has to give the decision within 90 days. Within 90 days, they have to give the decision. So first 7 days, they just call the meeting. They decide whether the complaint should be considered as sexual harassment or not. Once this complaint is considered as sexual harassment, then the letter is given to the charged officer or the respondent, whomsoever the charge is against. So I call it as a respondent. Once the respondent gets the letter, it is like within 10 working days, the respondent is going to give the reply. And then there is the first meeting is called for the conciliation, and it should not be on a monetary basis. If both the parties agrees, okay, then the case is closed. If both the parties do not agree and they want to go for the hearing, if the lady says, no, I want to go for the proper hearing, then the committee has to go for the hearing. As I said, the hearing will be like similar as the civil court. And if for the rights of the aggrieved person or the aggrieved lady is that she can ask for, she can ask for the transfer of the other person. She can ask for the change of her department, the relocation. She can ask for the relocation of the charged person. If she is reporting directly to that manager, immediately the reporting manager should be changed. She is also entitled for 3 months paid leave, which is other than the other leaves. Okay. So that is also considered over there. So 3 months is 90 days. So that is the effective period. That is what mentioned. So committee has to give the decision within 90 days. Once this is all about, and she should also expect the confidentiality. If she must provide all the proofs. If she is not able to provide the proofs, she must give the reason why she is not able to provide all the proofs. If she is telling that this person is the witness and witness is not ready to come in for the hearing, then the committee has full right to call that witness. Similarly, for the respondents, what is the rights of the respondent? The respondent, again, the unbiased hearing, natural justice, confidentiality. He can also demand for all the proofs given against him. One more thing is like, this with the aggrieved lady is that if she feels that she's scared in front of like the other person, speaking in front of the other person, she can ask for, the hearing in absence of the other person. In this case, the recordings will be done. So this is all about, the respondent. From the respondent also, he can also ask for all the proofs shown against him. If both the parties do not agree, then they can re-appeal to the committee. That is again within 3 months. So the timeline goes like this. Once the complaint is registered, 7 days, committee decide, then the 10 days for the respondent, and then the first conciliation meeting. And within 90 days, the decision should be taken. After that, committee takes 10 more days to write the reports. And then after that, once the reports are done, then there is 2 more months, 60 days given to the managing committee or the board of director or the disciplinary committee to take action. If within 60 days they are not going to take action, then 1 more month is for the committee members to take action. So in total 6 months, the case is closed. If someone wants to re-appeal, they can re-appeal about it. There are a lot of cases where the women found the committee to be biased. She can ask to reconstitute the committee also. This is, I'm going a little fast, I know, but because 1 hour is really less. So redressal procedure, I already mentioned about it, what is to be done in the redressal procedure. So let's talk about determination of compensation, which is very important. So the organizations in their policy, they write about the compensation from their side. The compensation can be in any form, maybe the demotion of the person, or maybe the salary, withholding the salary, or The compensation can be the community service, writing an apology letter. It can be even the medical expenses if the lady has undergone any medical treatment. So that will be considered over here. So let's talk about, I think this is all about the redressal procedure, which I already mentioned. One thing which is very important to notice is there are two types of cases. There is one is probably if I register the case, but I may not be able to give sufficient proof. So that does not mean that my intentions were bad. If that can be, the case will be closed. Without mentioning that the proofs were not sufficient, no action will be taken against the lady. However, if the organization finds that it is because of the malicious intent to defame someone, then the organization have, they have their clause in the policy which is mentioned, if with the malicious intent, then the actions will be taken against her. So there is a difference between false, the no proof complaints and the malicious complaint. This is something which is very important to highlight because many of them are on this. So let's talk about, that is the determination. Now let's also talk about the consensual relationships. When I talk about the consensual relationship, it is like committee will take care on this part also. Till the time it is welcome, it is not harassment. Simple. The act was welcome. It is not harassment. It was agreed between two of them. But the time when someone says no, then after that, if it continues, then it is harassment. Very simple. So the committee will take care on this part also, that when it was said no and then also it is continuously going on, then it will be considered as harassment. So one more thing is like, if in an organization someone is not able to talk, or this is one more very, very important point over here, is no lawyer is allowed to attend on behalf, attend the hearing or fight the case on behalf of the aggrieved woman or even for the respondent. Yes, if you are not able to speak, then you can take your friend along with you. But the lawyer, no lawyer can represent the case. That is very important over here. Another thing is like, which I wanted to highlight over here, is at any point the women is allowed to go and complain outside. It is like, being an Indian citizen, I have my legal rights to go and complain and file an FIR. So if I don't want to speak in the committee, I don't want to talk in the committee, if I feel that committee is not hearing my points, any point I can go out. Third point I wanted to talk about is committee is not going, if the person is absent from hearing continuously, then committee can take ex parte decisions, but they have to send 3 warning letters to the person that you are not coming, and then we are going to take ex parte decisions for both the side, aggrieved women also and for the respondent also. The last but not the least is about the consent. When I say consent, it is like, if there is silence, that doesn't mean that silence is yes. This is something which is coming, what I had observed in Indian culture, it is coming from Bollywood, till the interval, the hero is following the lady and then she's not saying anything, that means it is yes. So silence is not yes. It is not that you were present over there, you were silent, or you were benefiting. This will not be considered over here in this. There is one more government has made, is this about the she box, which I wanted to talk about. You can complain in she box also on their website, the Ministry of Women and Child Development. So you can make the complaint over there through website over here. There is one more women's forum where the complaints can be talking about, forum of women in public sector scope. Here also the discussions can be done. So I and I know there are many points which I could have covered, but still, so very quickly, if I have 2 to 3 more minutes to talk about Dr. Amrita, is it okay?
Please, ma'am, please go ahead.
Sure, ma'am. Please, you can continue, ma'am. Please take your time. Please take
Sure.
your time.
Sure. So
We are already going houseful, ma'am.
thank you. So when I talk about, when I talk about this, there are certain international laws also. Indian Law Act came very, very late. There are already a lot of laws internationally, which I already mentioned over there. International humanitarian law, international human rights law, customary law, and a lot of, US, UK law. Because why I mentioned this, because there are a lot of MNCs who are working with them. So it is, there are law all over the world against this. When I say about the POSH Act, the POSH Act, people get confused with this POXO. POXO is not, it is for the child below 18 years. So for the schools and all, it is like juvenile, it comes under juvenile rights, okay? However, for wherever there are 18 years and above, for example, when we talk about the universities also, or the colleges where all the 18 years and above, they must form the committee. They must form the committee over here. Okay, so there's a difference. When I talk about the schools, for example, the schools, for the kids it is POXO, but for the teachers it is POSH committee, IC committee. So if 10 or more than 10 teachers are working in the school, they are liable to form, they must form the committee. If the committee is not formed, then they are going against the compliance. If any organization which is going against the compliance, then there is 50,000 rupees fine. If it is repetitive offense, then even the business license can be cancelled. Okay, so which is very important over here. Following the compliance for the committee, actually, or all the organization, they must submit the annual report to the district officer, if irrespective of the case registered or not. So even if the case is not registered, they have to mention that no case registered, but they have to submit. It also goes into the director's report. So whenever the director's report is written, there also he has to mention that we have the committee and the number of cases registered. That is very important over here. Another thing is, like, let's talk about the introspection with this. It hides, like, mostly men dominated sectors are there. There are gender based, this is completely, actually, I know after this session many men are going to ask me question, what about us? This is one-sided policy. Yes, it is one-sided policy, like dowry. I do agree on that. However, a one-sided act like dowry. But however, I know all the MNCs and most of even the Indian companies, they have a gender-neutral policy. So as an organization, if you're framing policy, please frame gender-neutral policy. So when I say gender neutral policy, all the cases registered within the organization, within the committee, it will be taken as gender neutral. Once the case goes out in LCC, that is Local Compliance Committee, then it is gender specific, only for women, which is already mentioned over here. Another thing which is somewhere, like, about the financial compensation, where people yes, undue advantages sometimes are taken, and it is kind of a discriminatory part over here. I'm talking about the financial compensation. Government has very clearly mentioned that the first reconciliation meeting, when you're going to call, it shouldn't be based on financial compensation. However, there are people who settle on this part also. There are loopholes. I'm not saying there are a lot of loopholes in this. Like, as I mentioned about this, lodging the complaints results in isolation of women, both by employer and by colleagues. So this is one of the drawbacks over here. probably. And then it is also like, someone is complaining, so the more kind of a harassment, more violent harassment may happen. There are cases which we can see over here. You can, the last point is very interesting for me, is about the Vicky is saying that 30% Indian companies and 25% MNCs are not compliant. Still, there are many companies which are not compliant. So who is keeping eye on that? If any case arises, then it comes into the media, and then they overnight the committee is formed, overnight the decisions are taken, and all those things. I know many of the places where I get a call suddenly, like, from tomorrow onwards you be our external member, and then the next day I realize, oh, there is a case, and there is a case hearing, and overnight the committee is formed. So there is no awareness in the organization. People are not even aware. So then the lady who might have read somewhere, and then she is demanding about the committee. So this is something which is happening. This is the current scenario I see over here. So there are loopholes. One more thing I wanted to point out is there is no suo moto action taken in this particular POSH Act. So no one can take suo moto action. Suo moto action is nothing but like immediate arrest, like as in dowry case there is, I think so, the suo moto action taken up. So this is all which I wanted to highlight in today's session. There may be many more points. As I said, I am very passionate about talking about this particular topic. I can go on and on and on. I can talk a lot on this topic. If you wish to, talk, or if you wish to know more about it, you can connect me anytime. My website is also already there. We can talk in detail on this. Over here on this forum, I have limited time. I try to, what should I say? I try to compress it as much as possible. I try to give you as much as information I can give you in this 1 hour. So in the end, I will only say that a woman is like a tea bag. You can't tell how strong she is until you put her in hot water. So never attempt that. Okay. So thanks for listening to me. I hope you all enjoyed the session. It is informative for you all. Definitely, as I said, like 1 hour is less to talk on this topic. I wish I could have got more time to talk on this. I'm sure. So there is another 15 more minutes where we can take up question and answers. Thank you very much once again. Yes, over to you, Dr. Amrita.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Ma'am, with your due permission, can we go ahead with the question answer sessions?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Ma'am, the first question is from Miss Vidya Dhani Reddy. She says that, can sexual harassment be perpetrated by someone of a same sex?
Okay. See, when I talk about this POSH Act, it has, as I said, there are a lot of loopholes. Even the language is like not consistent. Somewhere they had written as woman, and somewhere they had written as a person. So one thing. The second part, as I said, like, before, like this act was in 2013. After that there is 377 came. So there are, lot of amendments are going to happen at the moment. So it is all on the policies of the organization, how they are going to take it. So at the moment, as per 2013, government has only 2 genders, male and female. Later on, government agreed on that there is a same-sex marriages can happen. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question on this.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Ganga Dharan. He asks, even though laws are made to punish the people who are involved in sexual harassment, but it is not controlled right now, how to avoid or stop this harassment?
Okay. So
if making of law is one of the serious is one of the.
Okay. See, there are a lot of laws already in Indian, when we talk about Indian Constitution. How many of us are following the traffic laws? None of us, probably, I will say. We wear helmet only once we see that there is a traffic policeman standing over here. There. Similarly, with the organization, once there is a policy, then we can deter people. At least they are aware. So awareness is very important. It's like today also, if I am conducting, it is more about the awareness session. So I am really happy we are going houseful, and then so many people they will come to know about this awareness. They will, I'm sure one person is definitely going to talk of another two-person about that. This is the law, and this is what we should expect from our organization. So awareness is something which should be more rather than punishment.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, next question is from Ashish Pandey. He says that, do you feel that the government is taking genuine steps to assist women in the matters of sexual harassment at workplace?
Yes, I will say yes, they are taking, because right now I already mentioned about the She Box, even that forums, the Scope Forum I mentioned, government is doing. In fact, I really don't know how much the Delhi government has worked on it, but I read in the newspaper that Arvind Kejriwal has asked about spreading this awareness in the local community everywhere, even in the slums where the domestic helpers are living. They should go and tell them. So yes, however, it is like a responsibility of every Indian citizen that they should spread this awareness. Government is doing their part. Organization should understand. They should follow the compliance. Recently, in last 2 years, what I observed is whenever any organization is going for the business license renewal, there is one checkbox where they have to tick as whether are you POSH compliant or not. So they ask all the reports, all the committee members' name and everything. So you will see changes over the period on this.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Siddharth Narula. He asks, what is the relevance of Vishakha guidelines in today's current time?
Yes, good question, I will say, because again, it is a very gender specific. When I conduct the session, I tell all the ladies, all the women is like, have guts to say no. First of all, you should say no to people. It's not the last job you're working in. You should be aware about it. And yes, the scenarios are changing culturally. India is also changing a lot. There are a lot of, as I 377 now. So it is just one-sided in Vishakha guidelines. But yes, if the guidelines are given, it is easy for the organizations to work on it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Varsha. She says that gender discrimination is also done when there are vacancies in jobs, specifically in jobs such as receptionist. When an office has to appoint a receptionist, they want only a female. Males can be also appointed. So is this a gender discrimination over there?
Yes, I do agree on this. There is a gender discrimination. It's like especially receptionist or hospitality industries, you can see, where, or even the airlines. Now they started taking up they call it, now they are calling it as crew members. Earlier it was air hostesses. So a lot of education should be there, as it is still people have to come to the terms that any job can be done by anyone. When I say simple word as nurse, automatically you will say she is going to take care of. Where the nurse, it is not that the nursing is only for females. When I was in Thailand, I had seen a lot of male nurses also over there. Yeah. So even in the hospitals, you go healthcare industry, now you see that there are, we call them as brothers now here, sisters and brothers. Yeah. So yes, gender discrimination is there. As per government, it is not allowed, but something which is from our belief system, somewhere mentally it is deep rooted. Society will take time to overcome that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Next question is from Artisha. She says that what should we do when a woman faces a sexual harassment in public place?
Okay, so when women faces sexual harassment in public places, then there is a local compliance committee where you can go and talk about it. You can complain on that where. However, again, stand up for your rights. You should, once you say no, I mean, women are really strong, and you have to believe in yourself. Why are you accepting that? Sometimes what happens is we silently accept, we just move away. The person is encouraged this way. He feels that she is weak, she is going to accept this. So the very first point is start voicing out for this, and start supporting other ladies also. So that's how I will suggest. Or best is somewhere it is my responsibility also how I should behave. So it's both sided. I will not say that it is only one sided somewhere.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Pushpa Malla. She says that is sexual harassment a criminal matter?
Definitely, as I already mentioned about it. It is already there. It is a criminal matter in case of heinous crimes like rape and all. And government, you can go and file an FIR anytime. It is not necessary that you should only and only speak to IC. If I feel, because being an Indian citizen, I can go, I have my freedom. I have that right and can file the case outside.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, with your permission, few more questions.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, next question is from Advocate Amsi Agarwal. She says that what if a boy is blackmailing a girl by saying, I will leak your pictures and disclose each and everything regarding our relationship after they already broken up?
That is sexual harassment.
Yes, sir. This also comes under sexual harassment at workplace?
Okay, if boy and the girl is working at, they are doing business. They are working together. If they are working together and they are doing business, then it will come under workplace. If they are not working, then it is not at workplace.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Ankit Gupta. Ankit says, the act of a girl is legitimate to prove that she is innocent. What about the innocent male colleague if he is guilty of sexual harassment just to defame him out of the personal grudge or the outrage?
Okay. I guess I had already mentioned in the end about this. The one is like no proof complaint, and the another one is a malicious complaint. So if committee finds that it is malicious complaint, definitely they are going to take action against the lady. And if you are not satisfied with the committee's decision, you can definitely file a case of defamation.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Payal Bhuttada. She says that mental harassment is also considered under POSH Act.
Okay, there are two types of when I say harassment. Sexual harassment is always like the harassment is happening because of the sexual favors, sexual request. If you remember, the first slide I showed is something which is unwelcome, intimidating enough, interfering enough, repetitive enough, and it is because of this I am because of this sexual request or sexual favors asked, I'm not feeling well, I am mentally harassed, then it is sexual harassment. It can be it is not, where the sexual favors or sexual requests are not done, but there are other types of mental harassment, then it will not be considered as under POSH Act.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, next question is from Aftab Alam. He says that, ma'am, if a male is harassed by a female boss in office, what is the solution then?
Okay, that will come under as workplace harassment, and that will be taken into disciplinary committee of the organization. However, if the organization is going with a gender neutral policy, then it will be considered into, it will be taken in the similar manner as POSH Act. So it is all on the organization's policy, how they are going to take it up. I have seen cases where senior female boss is harassing male member on this, and she's and she was fired after this because luckily the organization has gender neutral policy.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, next question is from Miss Kamini Ahuja, a solicitor in Mumbai. She says that a complaint has been launched by a female employer against a male employee. Upon becoming aware, the male employee stops attending the office. What remedy is available for the female employee?
Okay, so this is very common. Normally it happens that once I come to know that okay, complaint is against me, either I stop attending the office or I resign immediately. So organizations already have to work on their service policy also. So that is 3 months notice period. Full and final payment will be given, or the character certificate or a no due certificate will be given once all these cases are cleared. So this person will not get full and final. So all this, again, the organizations has to work. It's not only about just implementing the POSH Act. That's where when I draft the policies for the organization, I always ask about what is your service policy, what is your code of conduct, what is your disciplinary policy saying, all those, what is your service agreement is all going to talk about. So that is where 3 months period I already mentioned, committee is going to give the decision in 3 months. Similarly, that 3 months period, so from today the complaint is lodged and the person is not coming, so his payment is withheld, and then that can be compensated for the lady.
Also, ma'am, can ex parte order can be one thing? Ex parte.
Yes, definitely. I mean, 3 warning letters will be given to that person, and even if that person is not going to come over there, then they write down. I mean, they write a letter that ex parte decision will be taken and which should be acceptable to you. Even extreme cases, then committee has to file an FIR. Committee itself goes and file an FIR against the person. And committee is going to help the lady to file an FIR against the person in extreme cases.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, the next question is from Rajesh Kumar Mishra. He says that if the identity of the victim is disclosed by the member of the LCC, then can a case be registered against them? If yes, then under which provisions? Kindly guide.
Yes, if the identity, in fact, in this POSH Act itself, it is already mentioned confidentiality. So even the witness who is coming or all the members who are coming for the hearing should maintain the confidentiality. There is the fine of rupees 5,000 already mentioned over there in this. So it is always almost like a civil code. So when you go for the hearing, you might have seen in the civil code we take oath in the name of Gita, right, or whatever the thing. So we say that okay, so that is what you are lying against it when the identity. So it is already mentioned over there that I will not disclose the identity. So confidentiality, if disclosed, then there is a fine rupees 5,000 even for the witness, or even the lady, aggrieved woman cannot go out and talk that okay, I had filed the case against XYZ. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, if you don't mind, some more questions.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Next question is from Siddharth. He says that taking into consideration charges of sexual harassment made by a woman, for example, section 354 of IPC, the offense of which are cognizable and non-bailable, how relevant is the committee and the procedure followed by it?
Can you please repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, Siddharth says, taking into consideration the charges of sexual harassment made by a woman before the committee, she has another option, which is section 354 of IPC. Okay, which is a non-bailable and a cognizable offense. So how relevant is the committee and the procedures followed by the committee?
See, it is all individuals' right whether she wants to approach to the committee or not. If she feels that she shouldn't approach to the committee and she wants to register the case outside, she is allowed, she is free to do that. However, once the case is gone outside, then she is not entitled for that 3 months leave or all those 90 days procedure. Then once the case is outside, it will take its own time. She cannot demand there that okay, now within 90 days, please solve my case and I want to leave and all those things. And once the case is gone out, again, they will also ask why you had not approached your own committee, whether the committee is there or not. What is the reason? They will again, police will again ask, like, they will come and do the inquiry in the organization about it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for that update. The next question is from Aniket Solanki. He says that if a female child, a student, is sexually harassed, which act will come into picture, POSH or something else?
See, as I already mentioned, 18 and above is all POSH. If student, I'm talking about the student. And again, the student is harassed by the male member of the university, any of them, even whosoever is there, right? So a university or the college. If it is 18 and below, then it is like, under juvenile this thing, and that goes under POXO.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Ma'am, last question from a student, Ekta Jain. She says that, what is the time limit to file the complaint of work harassment?
What is? May I?
Time limit.
As I said, 3 months. Within the last incident happened. Whenever the last incident happened, she should complain within 3 months of the last incident happened. And if within 3 months she is not able to complain, then another 3 more months are with her. But however, she must mention the reason why that 3 months not there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for that marathon question and answer session. And really highly obliged to listen to that answers, ma'am. Over to you, Pooja, ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Salim sir, for wonderfully moderating today's session. Thank you so much, Archana ma'am, for giving those insights. On behalf of KLE family, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and heartfelt thanks to Mrs. Archanashares madam for educating all of us on this such insightful session and the much required topic for today relating to harassment of women. I would like to thank Madam for sharing insights not only on the POSH but also on constitutional law, IPC, with the relevant case laws where the participants enjoyed and have understood the concepts in a much easier manner. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would now request our principal sir to kindly address our guest speaker and participants. Principal sir.
Thank you, Pooja. Am I audible to you, Pooja? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to take a privilege and thank you, Mrs. Archanashares, for gracing today's session.
Thank you.
And it was wonderful to listen to you, and you have dealt with intricacies of the subject matter, and which would be definitely helpful for all the participants. No doubt about that. Having said that, this is a 4th webinar series of KLE Society's KLE Law College, and I am very much happy that today is the last session, and such a beautiful session we have seen all together. We have witnessed so many participants, and it's wonderful to and a lot of experience in this particular field. We have also had, we started this session almost, we started the session, yes, then the next is Bhagyoday Mishra, Gujarat High Court. Then we had Dr. M.S. Kamath, Nandakumar, Mishra, financial advisor for consumer, Nagaratna Madam from Associate Professor, National Law School, and Dr. Mallikarjunaya, the principal of KLE Law College. So I'm thankful to all the participants, my team, especially who have taken a lot of efforts to congratulate them for consistently. I would like to also thank all the coordinators of. I would like to also thank all my colleague teachers, whether it is Professor Srividya or Professor Salim Khan, who have done a wonderful job by doing the moderation in various sessions. I'm also thankful for such a wonderful participants across the country and international participants as well. And I'm highly obliged to the management of KLE Society, especially Dr. Prabhakar Koreji, who is the chairman of KLE Law Society. And I would like to also thank Shri Mahantesh Kabadigamat, sir, who is the GB chairman of KLE Law College. And I'm also thankful to Dr. Malika Anglor and director of KLE Law Academy and all the management people and GB members. And thank you very much, all of you. Now I declare officially this closed. Thank you very much. Thank
you so much, Principal Sir.
you, madam.
Thank you so much, Principal Sir, for your blessings and guidance to organize the webinar series, sir. Thank you for your support. Sir, with your permission, can we end the webinar?
Yeah, sure. Please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Archana ma'am, for joining us. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, participants.